Welcome to the History and Philosophy of Music Education course. This is one of the required courses for the Masters of Curriculum Instruction with Music Ed Infos. This is just an overview of how to navigate around Blackboard, which I think many of you are probably feeling quite comfortable with. But just real quick, this is the home page, so if I send out any announcements by email, they will also show up on here. Also on the left-hand side here, you can find the syllabus. All the text is actually laid out in Blackboard, so you can read it right there, or you can download a PDF version of the syllabus if you would like to do so. As far as this online course is concerned, the best way to reach me is by email, and I'd ask that you use my Doane email. I will be checking on that quite periodically. First of all, if on the left-hand side here, there's a little introduction, which you have probably already clicked if you're watching this video, and just to kind of get us started. But the way I've laid this out is in 2-week modules. So there'll be actually 6 modules during the course of this class. So I'll just click on Module 1 to begin with. At the very top, there's an overall objective of what we're going to cover over those 2 weeks. There's going to be a reading assignment out of the Mark and Gary, not Gray, but Gary chapters. And those chapters might change. I might not necessarily go in order, so just so you all know. But that'll be dealing with more of the history of music education. And then there'll be some discussion questions where you're just going to be reflecting off those writing and maybe doing some extra little research on your own. But that will be dealing with the history part of things. Then we'll kind of go on to the other side of the class, which is the philosophy aspect. And most of this, I will actually be posting your readings for you. There's not a particular book I'm having you buy for this. So in this case, if you click on that, you'll see a chapter that comes up from the Abel's Foundation book. Now, what I would do is download this and maybe print it out yourself, and that way you can read it right, probably because most of these are going to kind of have this obscure look when you first open them up in Blackboard. So there'll be some philosophy readings. Some of those might also be videos that I will include there. So there'll be a variety of things. Sometimes I give you some basic notes that I've already built in here for you just to read through. There's nothing here you need to click on. It's just information for you to read right off of Blackboard. And then there's usually some type of an assignment that deals with the philosophy aspect. So you can read through that and then submit that. So like all this would happen sometime over those 2 weeks of that module, and this one being done by January 31st. Then if we were to click on Module 2, same type of thing, due by February 14th. There's usually a reading out of the Mark and Gary book, discussion questions that go along with that. This is dealing with the aesthetic foundation, so I'm going to have you doing some reading by Bennett Reamer, and then doing a little assignment with that. So hopefully this gives you some flexibility, realizing that the spring is very busy for music teachers with all the concerts and contests and festivals that are going on, that this gives you some flexibility to get everything done over those 2 weeks. The culminating project is a final paper, and this is something you can start working on. And I actually have purposely put the due date on this a week before district music contest so that you can avoid that stressful week. So we're actually going to end the class earlier than would probably be normally happening, but that's okay. We're covering everything that we need to in the time that we have. The final paper is actually going to be a white paper. And if you're not familiar with a white paper, it's more of a way of expressing your thoughts and your background and knowledge of a certain area in trying to solve a problem or an issue or present a certain viewpoint. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to kind of think about what you do in your own teaching and an issue that you find that you're having to face, which it might be having to change your curriculum or adding something to your curriculum, or maybe maybe you need more music faculty because of a growing program. How would you go about actually presenting that using some of the philosophical viewpoints and some of the history of music education that can help support your cause. And so I've given you a couple samples of here how to write a white paper. There's a little PDF on how to write that. I've actually attached one here. This was actually a comp question that I had to create really quickly, and I did it in the form of a white paper. And so as it loads here, you can kind of see that it looks different from a normal research paper. It can be a little bit more colorful. There's usually an executive summary that happens with a purpose statement of what is the issue you're talking about and the overall goal of this particular paper. Pictures being added in there sometimes is very helpful. This one was on the National Education Technology Standards and National Standards, because these were the old national standards. And tying it into music, or in tying the technology and music technology and those particular standards together. So that's kind of this approach. So this is just one example of what a white paper might look like. So that's what I thought would be a nice little different approach to writing a paper, something that could maybe be effective and useful for you in what you might be seeming to tackle on a daily basis. So that's a little bit about the final white paper. And again, you can start working on that at any time, and that's due on April 18th. So if you have any questions, again, feel free to send me an email, and I hope you enjoy the class.